Hello, welcome to Isolation Gigs. I'm not even sure what week it is now. I think it's week 8, something like that of lockdown. I think it's 8, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I'm gonna go with 8. I'm going
I've
with 8.
lost all count of time and dates and things like that. But one date I do know is that we are just announced yesterday we're going to be releasing a charity single for the NHS, which is going to be coming out on the 29th of May. 2020, and it's a cover of Frank Turner's "Be More Kind." We announced it all yesterday. We've got a great team behind it, and the podcast today is basically going to be talking about the behind the scenes of the single itself. So we're going to try and just tell people a little bit more about how the single was made, who's on it, also, most importantly, where they can get it when it's out, and how they can donate money to help NHS charities together COVID-19 appeal. So it's just me and Chloe this week. Next
guys.
week, hey Chloe. Next week we're going to line up some fantastic guests who are going to be part of the single, and we're going to bring them on one by one. So, but we thought we'd just welcome you back again to Isolation Gigs.
Yeah, here we are. It's exciting, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So no one really knows, but in the background for about the past month, we've been kind of working away like quite hard to try and get this charity single done.
Yeah.
And now it's like the time when we can actually start pushing it out and telling people about it. So it's good fun.
It's crazy. It's crazy, isn't it? That it's like it's an idea. It was a seed of an idea, and then it sort of started taking shape slowly, didn't it? And then now here we are, 2 weeks before the release date, and it's suddenly it's like, all right, here we go. And there's still stuff going on, isn't there? There's still lots of things going on in production to get it ready to roll.
To do. Yeah,
but you've I mean, Elle, really it's been your sort of baby that you've decided to take hold of and take charge of in this time. And I know I've obviously watched it start from your idea and then evolve, and it's been really exciting to watch. And now it's even more exciting that we're about to sort of let other people hear it and let other people in on it. And obviously the main thing, raise money for the frontline workers that are just working day in, day out, beyond what I guess any of us can imagine right now. So I mean, how are you feeling, having sort of started the idea however many weeks back, and now knowing it's only 2 weeks away from actually being able to be heard and be seen and everything like that? Like, how does it feel for you?
It's very exciting, because just hearing the mix, which I don't think anyone's heard yet, the draft mix is really, really great. So I know it's going to be absolutely amazing, and I think it's going to be a brilliant version of this great song. So that's really, really exciting. But it's a little bit scary that it is only 2 weeks now,
I know.
because next week is basically when the real hard work starts, and we have to send it out. And I'm probably going to be spending every day just chucking it out to as many people as we can to try and build some momentum up to when we actually release it. So at the moment, it's the calm before the storm, because you can't really do a lot until you have a thing in your hand, until you have the actual track. We've got the artwork, which you and Heidi have worked on, really, really, really lovely. But we can't really do much apart from just tell people about it and make awareness until we've actually got it, and then we can actually get people to pre-save it and stuff like that. So it's almost like apprehension at the moment, because one, not everything's finished, and we want to make sure we get it done by the deadline, and that's always stressful, isn't it, having a deadline? But I'm pretty confident this one is a good deadline that we're gonna smash. So
100%, definitely. I mean, there could be like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, there could be a lot of different stresses and little hurdles to overcome, but like, as I said, I've seen you and been part of it with you from the start, and then there's already so many things that have happened along the way that maybe when you first thought about, could we get that person involved, or how will that line up, or how we start to do that, lots of different things have fallen into place. So in my mind, it's like, yes, these next 2 weeks are like crucial, and it's going to ramp up, but it will fall into place, and it will be where you want it to be in 2 weeks. Because I think I think it's been flowing that way, and it's been sort of gaining momentum. Do you know what I mean? As it's happened.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just things are falling into place, and pretty much most of the things that I'd wanted to do, we've been able to do. So, which means that we will be able to do it, you know. But putting out a charity single is something I've never done before. So, it's all a bit of a learning curve, really.
Sure. And not only a charity single, it's not like you've written one, which obviously you could have done. You chose to cover Frank Turner's "Be More Kind." So, I mean, I remember, we talked through, well, how do we do that? We've got to get in touch with Frank or his management and get the okay to start with. So obviously, you had that moment a few weeks ago, didn't you, when you heard from Frank?
Yeah, I think it's like really important when you're going to cover someone's song to tell them about it, and like ask them if they think it's a cool idea, and they'd like it. Because it's someone's creation, isn't it? And I know if someone wanted to cover one of my songs, I'd love to hear about it. Like if they phone me up or emailed me or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that again, that's something we didn't specifically have to do, but it's something that we wanted to do. And then to get all the clearances through, which we've done, through all the kind of licensing stuff, which we've done, and I think it was really nice, and we've got a bit of a more personal touch now with Frank Turner as well, which is good.
Yeah, definitely. And it's I think it just gave the project that feeling of, oh, okay, we can do this now. And therefore, all the ideas, all the creative ideas you had, I think started to then take shape once you got the okay that Frank was kind of saying, yeah, go for it. I mean, amazing idea. You know what I mean? So
definitely.
That's when I think it started to build, which really is only a couple of weeks ago. And even in this last couple of weeks, so much has happened. Do you want to talk us through sort of that process from when you first found out the kid?
When I first had the idea when I started playing it in my live stream gigs, and it's always been, I was actually meant to play it at Bishop Stortford Music Festival last year, and we had terrible weather and everything was a bit crazy, so we never actually got to do it. We were going to play it as the kind of festival anthem, like do a live version of it. It didn't really come together, but so I've always had it in the back of my mind to do something with it. And I was playing it on live streams. I was finishing every gig with it because I just thought it was a nice sentiment for this kind of time when everyone is struggling, and then people need to be kind. And then I think it was probably after one of those I thought, why don't I record this? Like, and not just me, I could just record it with a piano. And I have actually done that, and it was nice. But I thought, well, wouldn't it be more fun if all my mates who were just kind of sitting around at the moment doing bits and pieces, and actually a lot of them working really hard, doing their music, why don't we try and get them involved? And so initially it was basically the idea, and then it was like, let's ask Frank, see if he agrees to it, because with his backing, it kind of pushes the whole thing forward, gives us momentum, and we know we're doing a nice thing as well. So because it's for the NHS as well, I think it's just something that people wanted to do. And but yeah, the process then we had to think about was, well, how can we actually do this? Because we are all in different countries, different towns, different cities, with very varying levels of technical equipment, technical knowledge. I'm certainly not a massively technical kind of musician. Yeah, and I dare say most of the people that we've asked, they wouldn't say tech is their main thing. Some of them maybe. And so we had to think about, well, how can I get 15 musicians to, I think it's 18 actually in total.
I think it's 18, yeah.
All their parts down, all their vocals, get the vocals sounding as good as they can in like different people's houses. And that's when our saviour came along, Stephen Hoffman, from SMAC Studios. And I'd worked with Stephen once before, but we've still never actually met. We've chatted. He did drums for my album, a couple of tracks on my album, and
Of course, yeah.
when I approached him about it, he was like, "Yeah, I'll definitely play drums, and if you need someone, I'll produce it as well." And just having him was amazing because that solved a lot of our problems because we had a central place where we could send all the stuff and he would mix it for us using his expertise, which are vast. Put it all together. So getting Stephen on board was really, really crucial kind of thing, I think.
Stephen's been like glue, hasn't he? I mean, he's been the glue in terms of just knowing that, you know, you've kind of overseen a lot of different things, but you've said to the artists involved, you know, send your tracks to Stephen. He'll let you know how they are, if they need, you know, reworking or anything. And Stephen just kind of cracked on, and you know, he's just, and like, I did hear the draft, didn't I? And it just, you know, there's some things to work obviously still, but it was awesome to hear it come together, knowing the different artists we've got, knowing their different voices. And I kind of knew your layout, and I thought, oh God, it's just, you know, you can imagine it, but then when you hear it coming to life, it's so exciting. And yeah, so grateful to Stephen for just putting the time in and you know, giving us that support really right now, because there is so many. Obviously you've done more of this than I have completely. Like, give me a stage and I'm fine, but give me recording stuff, I'm not quite so experienced. But you know, all those different factors that come into play to bring together just one track are huge. And yeah, knowing that, you know, you've got someone with the expertise like Stephen has just been fantastic to get the project off the ground and to have it in the place that it's in right now, you know, 2 weeks away from release. So
yeah, it's actually sounding better than I ever imagined it would.
That's amazing.
Which is brilliant, like, because you have an idea in your head but you don't really know how it's going to work. All these voices, you think, well, I think he would suit that bit, I think she would suit that bit, and maybe they might sing quite well together, but we haven't been able to get in a studio. So normally you do most of the conversation and the communication like in the same room, and it's much easier to put your kind of ideas across to someone if you're in the same room as them and you're all working to the same thing. But luckily, almost everyone involved has kind of put their own spin on things, and it's kind of changed, but in a really good way to how we kind of envisioned it being. But it's got better, I think, than I even thought it'd be.
I think that's the joy of creating. And I think, you know, like we've spoken about for many weeks on here, this time, as much as it's been quite frustrating in lots of ways and quite sort of stilted, it's also breathing kind of creative energy into people in different ways. And I think that's coming out in just hearing different people's takes on certain lines and they're sort of the way that they've interpreted the song, because obviously, like you say, you've sung it, you've performed it live a lot now on the live streams, but you'd sing it one way and then you'll give someone that line and they'll just take it a whole different direction. And it's exciting, and it's making the track just something completely different to maybe, as you say, what you could have imagined.
It's really fun to hear people's interpretations, because it's like a new version every time I hear, you know, someone else's like version, and then to merge them all together is really fun. And I didn't actually know how. I've never done anything like this before. I've actually sung on a part of a charity single back in a few years ago in Cambridge. So but that was easier because we all got together on one day and we did like the Live Aid thing. We all sang in a studio all together in a big kind of group, and then we did like our individual lines. And I went in at 10 in the morning. I think I'd finished by like 2. So the whole track was pretty much done in the space of a day. But I didn't quite know how this was going to work, because I didn't know how long it would take to get people's vocals, and you know, whether we were even be able to get some people to do the vocals and stuff. So it was a really new experience for me. So it was actually really fun. Normally I hate getting things sent from left, right and center, and putting things together is always a bit of a pain, but this has actually been really fun because we don't really have anything else to do at the moment anyway. So
well, it's
you know,
definitely for you. I think it's giving you sort of purpose every day, living on your own, and this project has just kind of mapped out a lot of time for you over the last few weeks and in the next couple of weeks, and even beyond. Once it's released, then there's still sort of, we just want to keep pushing it, don't we? So it has given you that structure, and I guess you're hearing from different people each day with information about the track or sending you things, so there's always sort of that going on, which I think must be kind of actually quite helpful for you right now as well.
Yeah, because it makes every day a bit more interesting rather than just walking in the park or down by the river and deciding what to eat for dinner. It makes it a lot more interesting because you actually, like, every day you're excited to hear the next part or see the next video. And some of the videos are really funny and really good, actually. And just having something like a project like this to work on has been really cool, because I wouldn't really have known what to do otherwise. If I didn't have a project to work on, I could have just worked on my individual little things, but none of them have really an end game at the moment. So to have something big that we could actually, like, put out into the world during this time, it will make us feel like we've actually achieved something really good. So definitely.
And do you know what's really lovely is that obviously the intention for this is to raise as much money as we can for the NHS, and that's the focus, that's the purpose. But in doing so, it's, as you say, it's giving you a purpose. It's giving you, not just you, obviously we're all involved, but you're taking the brunt of it because it's your baby, and it's like giving you that every day. So while you kind of, it's a kind of mix of good things that are going to come out of it, and that's lovely, because that I think is I think that's usually the main purpose for anything creative. If you can do it from a place of serving others and serving yourself at the same time, I think it's always going to be something more beautiful at the end of the day. Than just for financial gain for yourself or whatever.
It's really easy to, and luckily we're all very lucky that we're all kind of able to just kind of exist in our isolation. But when all this stuff's going on, you don't really have any connection with what is going on, because you're not going to walk into a hospital, are you? Like, unless you really, really have to. And what's nice is that in some way we can all feel connected to the NHS and the situation by getting people to pledge money to it. And we're kind of giving them a vehicle to do that.
Absolutely.
And it makes us feel like we're a bit more connected to the situation, because we all sit at home and we hear about it, but not many of us are actually, like, on the front line, are we? I mean, musicians are not really frontline workers, and we can't go and do gigs, which we'd normally do. So
yeah, for sure. I think because we can sit and talk about, oh, how are you managing your time and how are you feeling, and that's all important stuff. But bottom line, we're not being affected by this like so many other people. And as you say, I think just this little bit of giving in that way to that area of the world right now that are working so hard, I think feels important and feels necessary and feels right to be doing it.
Yeah, it does. And I really, really wanted to make it about the NHS because it's something that everyone uses and everyone needs. And personally, I feel like the NHS at times has been really undervalued and underfunded. So although it would be better if governments properly funded it, if we can help at this time to get people to help, I think it's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, and I think everybody feels the same, to be honest. I mean, you can't really, it's not something you can get away from. It's like they're doing so much work, and there's just so much we can't imagine about what they're doing. So hopefully a lot of people feel the same. I've seen a lot, I'm sure you have as well, but I've seen a lot of different friends who are artists creating things and doing this, doing similar sort of projects, which I think is wonderful as well. I think the more that people can do to raise awareness and just to keep that message going within the country right now, and across the world as well, if there's any help that can come from other countries as well.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you want to? I wasn't sure if you did. You want to go into who's involved on the record, or would you like
to? Yeah. So I might as well kind of tell people, because we did the announcement, but it might be hard for some people to see who's exactly involved. So in total, there's 18 like musicians involved, which is again a massive project to put together. I've never put together something as big as this.
And you're doing it remotely.
And we're doing it remotely, which again has its own headaches, but also its own kind of nice things, because you get what people give you, and then you work with it, which is nice, rather than all getting in a studio and people doing kind of what you ask them to do. This is a bit more free, which I like, because that's the way I work anyway.
Yeah.
I like getting good people and then trusting them to do a great job, because I think that's what good people do.
Yeah.
So obviously Stephen McLaughlin is the producer. He also plays drums. And that was probably the first thing that we did was put a drum track down with my piano track, because at the start we just had a piano track. We put the drum track down, which kind of arranged, me and Stephen kind of arranged the song that way, because the drums can bring things in and bring things up and down, and they basically just, they're a really great arrangement tool. We had really similar ideas on the arrangement, which was great. And,
makes it a lot easier.
makes it a lot easier. And there wasn't too much to change actually between our ideas. So once that was down, we got Jack Daubney, who you know very well, good friend of ours, and I've played with him. You've played with him. Probably, I think, for about 15 years or something like that. I don't know how long. But luckily, not luckily for him, but he was in China when this all happened, playing bass out in China. So he got flown back, and obviously I knew he was in the country, so he put the bass down for us, and it sounds amazing.
It's awesome,
lovely. And we got Tom Wright on guitar. Tom is a brilliant like guitar player, and I've met him a couple of times at gigs, and he's the kind of guy you watch when he plays, because he's just really good. And I think I was chatting to him online a few weeks before I even decided to do this. So he came into my mind because I've been watching a lot of his videos, and he actually was covering Be More Kind in his live streams as well. And so I knew he liked the song, and that was a good thing as well. So I got Tom. Tom has also played with Albert Lee, Peter Donovan, amongst many other legends. He also does a gig every year where I think there's about 3 or 4 like massive stars come and sing.
Awesome.
In some all-star band, and he's always the guitarist in it. So we've got Tom on guitar. So that was the next step, get the guitar down. So we had all the instruments pretty much done in the first week, and then
they were done so fast, weren't they?
Brilliant. Those guys are so efficient. They just got the track, and some of them didn't really know it very well. Didn't even know the track, but they managed to put down a brilliant some brilliant instrumentation. And we have Claire Bostock on cello, which everyone knows I love strings and cello in particular. So she's actually a friend of Stephen's, and Stephen put me in contact with her. And again, someone I've never met, but we had a chat online, and she agreed to do the cello. So the cello went down next, basically. And then it was the mammoth task of it took me, honestly, days to try and work out who was going to sing each part. Because first we had to contact everyone, and there's how many singers? 15, I think.
15, I think.
Yeah, 15 singers, I think.
14 or 15.
14 or 15. So first job was to contact them all, tell them about the project, and then see if they actually wanted to do it.
Yeah, because the thing is, a lot of the singers that we've got are, they're good people. So but all of them are good people, but they're busy people. Even in this time, people are finding, projects to do. So it wasn't easy, was it, to guarantee that we could get everyone that we wanted?
Exactly, because most of the good people are probably being cherry picked for charity singles left, right, and centre. And a lot of the people we probably have picked, I know for a fact, have been on other charity singles as well. So,
I mean,
it might take me a while to go through all the names, so I won't go into detail. But actually, let me get my paper. This might be this is kind of what I worked from. So here's my lyric: Frank Turner, Be More Kind, and there's all the people's names, and the ones highlighted at where I kind of moved them to.
Yeah.
In the song. And as you can see on that side, on the other side, I had like ideas, and then I changed them, and then I
as you do,
re-changed them again. So as this is a behind the scenes thing, that's how I did it basically. I got all the lyrics, and then I listened to the song millions of times and tried to think whose voice I think will suit that kind of thing. And then who's my friends that I can contact quite easily. Who I've worked with maybe in the past few years, or maybe years ago, or some of them I've never worked with, but you know,
like to, and now you are.
Why not? Yeah. So I think when we get people on, we'll do it on social media. We'll kind of introduce everyone with their little videos, maybe.
Yeah, and a little bit of background as to, you know, who they are, what they've done. But right now we'll just get the names out there.
It's going to be quite boring if I went into massive detail. So yeah, on the track obviously is myself, yourself, Daniel Lumley, who I do a lot of stuff with, and I'm in a duo kind of with. Johnny Stemp, who's a great guy to have. He's been in the industry a long time. Daisy Shoot. I've done a few gigs with Daisy, and I've loved her work for a long time. So
she's wonderful.
Brilliant to have Daisy on board. Charlotte Campbell, who I met during a Zoom gig for a boat in London.
During lockdown, right?
During lockdown, the first week of lockdown, I think I was doing a gig on Zoom, which I'd never done before. And Charlotte was the other act that I got on board there. So got on really well with her, and I really like her voice and her style. So Charlotte's joined us, and then we go across the pond. Two guys that actually have worked with Frank, and one of them has actually done an album with Frank in the past. And this whole thing is being helped. We're being backed by Stortford Music Festival, and I've got to give Twig a shout out, because Twig was instrumental in getting. Twig is he runs the festival basically with Annabelle, his wife, and Twig was instrumental in getting some of Frank's friends from America to come and play, to come and sing and play on the track. So we've got Austin Lucas, who I actually do know, because I actually gave him a gig in Cambridge with Stortford Music Festival about 5 years ago. We put on a gig, and I've actually met him at Americana Festival. So he's an Americana artist. John Snodgrass, who has actually done an album with Frank back in a few years ago. So we've got those guys, which is brilliant to have on board. They're from across the pond in America.
Oh, and they're full of character, aren't they?
They're full of character. And I think they really enhanced the project, actually, having them on board. We've got Chloe Swaby, who is a friend of yours, and you got her on. You helped us get her on board.
Chloe's wonderful. Yeah.
Great singer, really professional, like really, really good. We have Zoe Phillips, who has been on a Isolation Gigs podcast, actually, about a month ago. I don't know.
I've lost track, but it was definitely a few weeks ago.
And again, I've worked with Zoe. I've never been on a track with her, but I've worked with her. I've done gigs with her. She's done some of my gigs before, so I thought Zoe would be great for it. Yeah. We've got Jess Greenfield, who again is a friend of yours, and I've met before as well, and is a great person to have on board. She sings with Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds.
Yeah, she's in a duo, the Condors.
Yeah,
as well. Yeah,
and so really great to have Jess on board. Bella Chipperfield, who we both know. Her brother Joe plays in our band.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So Bella's got an amazing voice and just a great style, and it was great to have Bella involved as well. Now my list has run out, and there's a few more people, so I'm just going to skip around.
I've got the list here. You've got Harry Payne.
Harry Payne, yeah. So Harry came on board after he's a friend of Dan Lumley's, and we got in touch, and I'd known about Harry's music before, and was really happy to have him on board. He's done some brilliant stuff. He's done some great tours before, and he's, you know, well known chap in the industry.
Yeah, and you've got Nadia
Shaikh, yeah. So Nadia, I actually she opened up, I think, or was support on the tour that me and Tom Ryder did. About 3 or 4 years ago, and that's how I met Nadia. And then she's gone on and on and on, and I followed her career, and she's just been supporting Stereophonics. I think it was one of the last gigs, if not the last gig, to happen in the UK, the day before lockdown or something like that.
Crazy, isn't it?
And she was on stage with the Stereophonics. So really great that Nadia come on board. She's a great singer. Really love her voice, and so yeah, Nadia's on board.
I'm just checking the list. I think that's everyone.
Yeah. Do you see behind me? I've got my whiteboard. That's where the planning is, and everyone's names on there. We have covered everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, we have for sure.
Yeah, we've like all the musicians and all the singers.
What's been wonderful is seeing, like I said before, but seeing in the last couple of weeks, since securing the singers, since you know, making sure you knew exactly what everyone had to do or wanted to do, seeing that all come in, and everyone just, you know, around their busy lives, around whatever they are involved with right now, busy lives. But it's funny, isn't it? We are busy right now.
Everyone's really busy.
So it's like seeing that all come together, and knowing that everyone wants to come together for that sort of one goal of making this happen, has just sort of highlights community right now, and highlights that feeling of people wanting to help each other out, and people wanting to keep things going, keep music alive, keep you know, keep helping in whatever way they can. That's sort of come through, I think, in seeing all those different artists. Some people know each other, a lot of people don't, and it's just people from different spectrums coming together and going boom, you know. That's what's exciting.
To have everyone's support has been brilliant, because to do a project like this, you need everyone's kind of support on board, and everyone came on board, and everyone was brilliant. They were like, absolutely love the cause, let's do it, kind of thing. It was that attitude, really, across the board, and that's what you need, because you don't want any kind of like, you don't want any gaps or anything. You know, I was really worried at one point we wouldn't fill all the slots that I'd envisaged in my mind, like and then, but absolutely, luckily we've managed to do it. And like I say, in this situation that we're in, like, it's unique, because I don't think in normal life, I don't think we'd be able to get all these people together to do a single. Like, to get them into a studio would be, I mean, with everyone's schedules, it would be crazy. So actually, this probably is the best way to do it.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people with the equipment set up and have been doing a lot of recording remotely for a long time. As we've said, we've gone into studios to do things, or, you know, we've not necessarily set up quite that way. So we're learning how to be in this. But what it's showing is that, you know, you have this idea of all these artists, but logistically and geographically that wouldn't normally be possible. But this is showing us that, you can actually create something wonderful remotely, which I know for maybe Stephen, he might be like, my head's exploding, I would like to actually have these people in my studio, have them come in. But it's, I don't know, I don't think he's going too crazy from what you said. I hope not, because
and one issue was that we had to accept at an early stage that we're not going to get a unified vocal sound with 15 different singers all singing with different equipment, with different voices. We kind of knew that wasn't going to happen. But what I really like about the single is it's kind of quite raw. The vocals kind of go up and down, and different tones, different accents, different, you know, different sounds, which you wouldn't normally have on a record. You'd have a pretty unified vocal sound throughout. But actually, this is quite cool because it sounds a bit more live, you know.
Do you know what? Also, it reflects the time that we're in. It reflects the nature of this situation. I think, as you were talking about that, I just thought, like, I went forward into the future, and I thought, when we look back at this and we listen back to it, it's going to feel even more authentic, and I don't know, it's going to feel even more heartfelt, because
Yeah.
you can hear that, you know, everyone's coming from their own equipment, but it's still going to sound very professional, and it's still going to sound very well produced. It's just there's something different about it, which for me is often what makes the most wonderful music, really.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the music that hits you,
and how it's been made so quickly, and in quite a raw way. It has captured something really beautiful and really nice. And I think when we look back on it, like you say, it's going to be really special. It's going to be like a special song. Because to me, the song was always really special. It was like the unofficial anthem of the Bishop Stortford Music Festival, but it was a song that I really liked. And when I was thinking about doing a song for the NHS, of course, I did think for a bit whether I'd write one.
of course.
I'm not really the kind of writer that just sits down and just goes, right, I'm going to write a song about this. I need, like, something deep inside needs to kind of like come out. And for me, this song, the meaning and the words of this song were far more powerful than any ideas that I had. And I just wanted to do this song because I think it's great, and I wanted it to be shown to a different audience with different people on it as well, because Frank Turner's version's beautiful. Like, I love it. And but I thought this would be a really fun thing to do.
You know, it feels like I'm talking like it was 6 months ago or something. It was like less than 2 months ago. But hearing the first time you did this on your live stream, and you did, like you said, you did at the end. I always listen to lyrics as much as I can when I first hear a song, as well as the melody. And I just couldn't get away. Like, I remember Mum and I were just like, those words are so poignant right now. And I think with this continuing for the length of time that it is, and obviously being as serious as it is, those words just become more and more meaningful. And you know, having sung my part on the song as well, and listening to other people's and listening to how they've interpreted the lines, it just gets it creates more and more more and more meaning for me. It's more and more powerful. I really hope that other people feel the same, the same way we feel about the song.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you get a did you find it easy to connect with that song because you knew you'd heard it before, or was it kind of something that, because for some people I think they hadn't really heard the song before, they didn't know it very well?
You mean when I first heard you do it, or when I recorded?
Yeah, when you recorded it, was it like a natural kind of thing?
I think going back to the first time I heard it, I connected with it straight away. I think it's one of those songs that and I understand that's why that would resonate with you, because you write that way. I think your songs, people connect with them as soon as they hear them. And I think that's what Frank's song is like. And it's not hard to sort of lose yourself in it immediately. So then you know, fast forwarding to when I actually got to record and stood and actually, like, because when you sing something, you then think about the words even more, don't you? You start to interpret them. And it took me on another journey. And I think also because we're all feeling things every day, different things every day, we're all sort of working through this challenge and this time, then you start to attach your own feelings towards it as well, because you can't help it, because it's that it touches you in that way. So I genuinely do think it's going to be one that people connect with straight away. If you've never heard that song before, we hope that you do connect with it in that way. But also when there's different voices coming in singing different things, that brings the words to life in a different way as well, because it's not just one person's interpretation, it's a collective. And I'm very excited about it, as you can see.
Yeah, me too. And most people everyone that's on it is really excited to see where we can take it and to get it out to as many people as we can, you know.
That's
what we want to do.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, we want to basically get it out to as many people as we can, so that we can raise as much money for the NHS as possible.
Absolutely. And I was just going to say, for everyone watching, where is it? Because, you know, our page is live now, isn't it? To be able to donate in advance. So where is it that you we're directing people to in order to be able to contribute?
At the moment, we've set up the Just Giving page. So anyone that's kind of heard about this story, likes what we're doing, can go straight to Just Giving /BeMoreKind20. I'll put on the link. I'll put the link on the text below as well. And at the moment, they can donate as much as they like on there. When the song is actually out, they'll be able to listen to it on loads of different places. So they'll be able to pre-save it on Spotify from next Friday, so the 22nd of May. And then once it's out, it'll be on Spotify, iTunes, all the normal platforms. We'll also have it on YouTube, so they can listen to the track, watch the video, and ultimately, hopefully, go to Just Giving and donate some money. They can download it, of course, from iTunes and places like that. It'll be 99p, and they can stream it. But ultimately, we'd prefer them to go to Just Giving, because then they can just put in as much money as they like.
Yeah, and everything that we receive is going to be going to help the NHS.
Yeah.
Everyone involved in this project is doing this for the support of the NHS.
That's something worth noting. Actually, it's been amazing. Like, the amount of people that I've asked to be involved with this, knowing that everyone's busy and also got no money, but everyone's putting their time in for free. And for some people, that's a lot of time that they're using up. So everyone's putting their time in for free, and it's amazing that people are doing that. So we want to kind of like repay that by just making as much money as we can.
Absolutely. And you know, something we haven't mentioned is obviously we've mentioned the production side, the musician side, but there's a whole side of, you know, we've asked people that we know, we've basically talked to as many people as we can, haven't we, in terms of helping with branding and marketing and making sure that the word is out there as much as possible. So that's a whole that's the system that's going to come into play now in terms of promoting it, and then once it's released. That's
the bit that I dislike the most, because it's like, I like making the music, and then it's all about this kind of time now. Is like you say, luckily we've had a lot of help from people, because it's a complete unknown doing this. Like, I didn't even know how to put out a cover. I've only ever put out original music, apart from like covers on YouTube and stuff. But I didn't even know how you go about putting out a cover. So just to learn that, and I've got people that I'm talking to online, and because again, another part of this whole thing is that I can't just go and have a conversation with someone in the pub or around their house or in the park, which I normally would, or I can't go to meetings. So all the meetings that we've had have either been on Skype, Zoom, Facebook, WhatsApp, email. So that's been another challenge, trying to speak to all the right people without seeing them.
Yeah, and also just you know, getting their time, anyone's time that we've had when we've had conversations with them, or you know, you've done meetings separately but done little group meetings together. It's every single moment I'm thinking, thank you for giving up this time. I know we're friends, or we might have connections, but people have all got their own things going on right now, and so when there's people that are willing to do that, it reminds you through this challenging and sort of difficult time, it reminds you of how great people are and how much, you know, there's a common goal for good in this world, and that comes through with stuff like this. And so I don't need to go super deep, but I am really genuinely grateful when people say, I'm willing to help, because it's
absolutely,
it's
especially when they're busy, successful people, talented people, you know, that gives the whole project a massive boost, just to get 10 minutes of those kind of people's time.
Absolutely.
And you know, I've been speaking to whoever I possibly can, you know, just to make sure we're on the right track and doing all the right things.
Sure.
Which I think we are.
Because I think if we don't make the most of doing that, then we're not going to make the most of what we're creating, and what we're creating we know is going to be amazing. So so it's like, you know, you want to give it its best chance to do as much good as possible for the cause.
Exactly. And I almost feel like it feels to me exactly like I would feel like about one of my songs, you know. I want it to be seen and heard by as many people as possible, because I think it's really good. Basically,
you know, I just realized that we've you know how we normally have guests on and we talk, we've managed to talk for about 45 minutes or so.
Blimey, yeah, we have actually. We haven't had any comments because I don't think we're getting a lot of viewers live at the moment.
No, we'll share it around, and hopefully
I think
hopefully people will catch up on it.
Yeah, and that's the basis of these things, isn't it? Like we're doing them so that people can watch them live, but ultimately we're doing them so that people can go on our channel and see what we've been up to. And if we can do anything in the next 2 weeks which will help promote the single, we will do it. And then after,
we're not gonna go quiet about this.
no, you'll probably, if you are watching, you're probably going to hear, and you follow Isolation Gigs, you're probably going to hear a lot about this for the next 2 weeks and beyond, because once it's out, then it takes its own little journey. Then, you know, it can go anywhere. And
absolutely,
we're hoping to get it on radio and stuff like that, and, you know, and wherever we can.
Actually, with that, anyone that, you know, as we say, we're not sure there's many people watching right now, but anyone that does watch this and gets to this point, please get in touch. Let us know if there's any outlets that you are connected to, or you know, because so that we can let people know this is out there and this is happening, and that we're raising money for the NHS.
Precisely. If anyone writes for magazines or blogs or whatever, and you want to do an article on it, then just let us know. We can provide all the stuff that you need. And anyone that wants to get involved, there's always stuff to do. So let us know.
I mean, I'm thinking it's probably a natural wrap up time. So just for anyone watching, give us the full title of the song, and the title of the art, you know, how you're labeling the artist, so that everyone knows exactly what they're looking for. So it's Elliot Porter and the Isolation Artists, and the song is Be More Kind. Be More Kind. And just to, you know, get it home, where can people go to donate?
So they can go to Just Giving. So it's Just Giving /Be More Kind 20, and that's where they can go to donate. And when it's out, they can go to Spotify, iTunes, all those kind of places, YouTube. If you type in Elliot Porter and the Isolation Artists, it will come up.
Bad. And we've got the Spotify pre-release next Friday, the 22nd of May.
22nd of May. Yep.
And the release date is Friday, the 29th of May.
Friday the 29th.
Awesome.
That's it.
Cool. Well, thanks, El. I think this has been useful. I think this has been good, so that people know this is happening. So thanks for all the information that you've given, and thanks for, like, obviously I'm involved, but thank you for creating it and, you know, making this possible for everyone.
Thanks for being on it. And thanks also to all the people. If some of our singers and musicians are watching, thank you, because you've made it amazing. And I'm really glad to have you all on board. All
right, well, we'll see you next week with a couple of people involved in the project, so you'll get to hear a bit more about them. A couple, it might be more, who knows. We'll see what we can muster.
We'll see who drops in.
We'll be here this time next week, next Thursday.
Cool. See you next Thursday.
Cheers, guys.
All right.